How I ended up getting engaged to the girl my ex cheated on me with. Part 1.
Part 1? Are we doing parts?
We might have to.
Actually, it's a really fucking long story.
Yeah.
If you've been following us for a long time, you know what we're talking about, or if you're just in our lives, but I feel like we have some new followers and this story has not been told in full.
Yeah, so here we go.
Okay, flashback to literally years ago. I had just moved to Arizona. I had friends through friends, but I wanted my own friend group. So without shame, I was on Bumble BFF, and on my profile, it did say LGBTQ or something like that. So I matched with this girl, we become friends, we kind of hit it off immediately. I ended up having to go out of town for some classes, but we were texting the whole time. By the time I came back, we were hanging out all of the time. She had disclosed to me a little bit that she was bi-curious. At this point, who knows if that's the truth or not, but to me, she had not hooked up with a girl before, but she was explaining to me that she was curious, but she had a boyfriend. So fast forward to one night, we're going out on the town and she's getting very handsy with me. And one thing I will give her, at least at the time, she was hot. And so I was like, what is going on? I don't know about it, but also confused about her boyfriend situation. So we're drinking, and by the end of the night, she comes over to my place. This is actually kind of a hilarious part of the story. We were in the closet and she starts making out with me and kind of freaks out, leaves my house at 4 a.m. I find out through friends of friends that she is still with her boyfriend. She had kind of told me that she wanted to continue this and keep this going. I basically was like, I'm not doing that if you have a boyfriend. I'm not getting involved in something like that. So then she starts to tell me that she has broken up with her boyfriend. Through sources that I will not disclose, I found out that she had not broken up with her boyfriend and that she was staying at his house when she would tell me that she was just getting his things. And this was the beginning of our relationship, so I was just really not trying to deal with any of this. And there was a lot of drama, a lot of stories I could tell. This went on for about 6 months, and then we had a big falling out. She ends up blocked on everything. I have no clue what's going on with her. No contact, blocked. Enter my fiance, Britain.
Yeah, okay. No. Okay, insert me. I meet her on the dating apps. Same kind of thing, like we hit it off. It was great, it was fun, and we hung out. No mention of boyfriend, so clearly she got smarter. We were dating for like 6 months, everything fine and normal. It didn't feel like it was another person. Like I was at her house every day, our dogs got along. At one point she had mentioned like, oh my gosh, you should move in. And at that point it had only been like 6 months and I was like, no, whatever. I mean, it was a commute, it was like 30 minutes, whatever, but I was still, no. Things started becoming weirder because there were a lot of names in her phone that I didn't recognize. She would tell me that she was going to meet with her dad's friends a lot, which was like so bizarre to me. And I was like, okay. Crazy. And at one point she was like, oh, we should share our location with each other. And I was like, okay, like we're dating, whatever, like we'll do that. And then all of a sudden, one day, she's like, I don't think we should share our location with each other. Like, you don't trust me. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, never have I ever looked at your location unless you were like, I'm on my way to pick you up, and I'd be like, oh, she's 10 minutes away, whatever. Then she would say that she had this guy coworker friend that was like horrible, and they were having like a friend breakup, and she had to go get some of her stuff from his house. In my head, I'm like, really good guy friend, stuff at the house. I was like, fuck, like, does she have a boyfriend? But I was like, no, we spend all the time together. Like, there's no way. And then things got weirder. Enter Megan again.
Round 2. So, for reference, I lost my best friend to carbon monoxide poisoning, and that really just completely changed my worldview. And because of that, I was kind of having a rough summer in general. Between that and trying to date at all, I went through some crazy situations that are another part video. I basically was like, I want familiarity, and also I wanted to just apologize for any part that I might have played in the confusion that went on between us. So I basically just reached out to her, as I was like really anybody that there was just discomfort with, and I said, hey, I'm sorry for the part that I played. I just hope that you're doing well. Literally left it at that. That's it. She responds immediately. She's like, oh my God, this is so crazy. I have been thinking about you all week, dating her at the time. I had no idea because, recall, I am still blocked on all social media. The only thing I was not blocked on was her phone number. So I reached out over text. She says, I have been thinking about you so much. Do you want to come over and we can reopen Pandora's box and like drink wine, catch up? And at this point, like I said, I had had a very bad stint of dating. Those stories are crazy, but I was not doing well in the dating front. And I was just like, you know what? I know her and I know things didn't get along well between us before, but maybe she was confused about her sexuality. It was the boyfriend thing. Maybe round 2 will be different. So I go over to her house and we chat the whole night, drink wine, I sleep over. and then I will switch back to you because you were on the other end as her girlfriend getting
So
different messages.
that night, she had a very bad migraine and was gonna go to bed early. And so I was like, oh my gosh, okay, like, I'm so sorry. But in the morning, like a gym membership together, and we would go to the gym every morning, and all of a sudden I like roll up to her house to drop her off because I had to go to work. I had to do something. And she was like, can you take like a lot of your stuff? I'm trying to do like a spring cleaning. Like my house is just chaotic. And I was like, oh my God, sure. Like right over my head. I'm like, perfect. Like let's clean, whatever. So I ended up taking like a lot of my stuff home because it was cluttered. Right over my head, whatever. And then fast forward to that night, she had her migraine. I remember getting a text from her mom. It was basically
crazy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're sipping wine, just like
giggling,
catching up.
So she goes to bed early. I don't talk to her really for the rest of the night, or unless it was like one word answers, whatever. And then her mom was like basically insinuating that I should send something to her because she's having a really hard day and she had like a panic attack before her migraine, whatever. And so I was like, okay. So that night I like pre-programmed Starbucks to send to her house in the morning, like a good girlfriend. I mean, we were never really official, but we were official because, you know, like the in-between of,
I mean, her mom was texting you.
Yeah, and I was like basically staying at her house every single day.
I think the only reason she wasn't putting a title on it was
because she wanted to bang other people, boys and girls. She texted me in the morning, thanks, so like the nicest, thanks so much, whatever. And I was like,
so I spend the night
going back to sleep.
So I spend the night and I wake up and we're just having ourselves a fine old morning. And as I'm about to leave, I'm going out the front door, Starbucks in the front door. And I was like, interesting. And she literally said to me, she was like, oh my God, that's this girl that I literally went on like 3 dates with. She is such a stalker. She stalks me. And I'm thinking in my head, your stalker knows where you live? Like, that's kind of crazy. But at the same time, again, I was down bad at this point, had some rough dating situations, wasn't trying to be exclusive with her at the time. So I took her word for it. I thought maybe she was lying about the fact that it was only 3 dates with this girl. But it didn't click in my head that it was someone she was actively dating. I just thought it was somebody maybe trying to win her back or something else. So I just don't pay mind to it, but I definitely took note of it for sure. So we continue casually dating. I can tell again that she's got like random numbers on her phone. Things just keep not adding up. I went over to her house and I saw a charger that had the initials BM on it.
Literally a mom for writing my initials.
But I remembered it because my mom used to do that growing up and that's my dad's initial. So it like stuck in my brain. I was thinking about that. And she also would not call this girl
by my name. She called me Starbucks girl.
She called her Starbucks girl forever. And then obviously as we started dating more, I saw a text on her phone while we were hanging out, like a group text from her friends that said, hey, we're all gonna get together and drink wine because because of she who shall not be named and Bryn's breakup. So I saw the name, but I did see breakup. So this must have been, okay, backtrack. So there was a 3-week-ish overlap between you and this text. So I will let you fill in about when you decided to break up with her and the things that were weird.
Yeah, I remember one day specifically, we went to go get our lips done together. Then she came over and she was supposed to go to a wedding with me. And so I was like trying on dresses and I had actually like taken a photo of like me in a dress and her head is
about the wedding.
Yeah, and her head was like in the thing. That same day, she had taken a photo on my couch with her and her dog and sent it to Megan.
And of course, I don't know.
She didn't know. She'd never been to my house.
Yeah, what her couch looks like.
I broke up with her because I was just like, lots of negativity, lots of projection, just was not working. And I was like so over the back and forth. And then like there was just so many weird things that I was like, you know what? I'm fucking over this.
Well, when someone's lying, everything just doesn't make sense and everything feels weird and makes you constantly anxious.
I will admit I did break up with her and then I like wanted to retract it. I did.
Well, yeah.
When you break up with someone,
at
I'm
the
like,
time,
fuck.
Yeah, I just feel like that's normal though.
Yeah. So I'll admit that. But then I was like over it and my friends were like, she's low-key. None of my friends liked her and my mom didn't like her. And my mom doesn't like somebody, you know. So she has now broken up with her. I'm about to end things with her and we will do that in part 2 and also tell you how we connected. Crazy shit.
I was raped and sexually assaulted 3 times by 3 different people, one of them being my own dad by the time I was 12 years old. And I'm going to talk about it for the first time ever. It doesn't usually bother me because I'm 27 now, I'm grown, I've got a lot going on in my life, but it's really affecting me lately, and I think the reason why is because this year my eldest will be the same age as I was when it started happening to me, which is just a wild, wild concept. Yeah, so the first time I was sexually assaulted. I'm not even going to talk about that one because I'll start World War III. So let's just skip straight past that one and go to the second time. And that was when I was 12-year-old, and that was by my own dad. Looking back, it was very strange because he only did it one time. It was just the one time, and I was aware enough to go and tell somebody straight away. The next day I told my best friend straight away, and we knew we was going to go tell the police. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about exactly what he did because I've literally never told anyone at all, like not even the police, everything that I did, because it was all just so like shameful for me as such a young girl. As I've grown up, it was actually, no, I'm lying, it was literally last week I came to the realisation that my dad was actually grooming me. Not for long, for about a couple weeks, maybe months before he did what he did. I guess he just couldn't help himself, couldn't wait any longer. But I did come to the realisation that he actually was grooming me, and the things that he was doing to me obviously were not normal. That went to court. That was like a whole like year-long process of going to court. He got found guilty of sexual assault of a child under 13, and he got nothing. He got found guilty, and he just had to do, I think it was 18 months suspended sentence, and he didn't even have to register as a sex offender. He did, but apparently he found a loophole and he didn't register. His name is Mark Ward, by the way. His name is Mark Julian Ward, just for anybody who knows, and he lives in the Yorkshire area. I'm actually going to try and find a picture. Funnily enough, I'll put him over the clown, just so everyone is aware of him, because I think he does his own business. Like, I think he like does plumbing or something in people's houses. So these people are inviting a full-blown paedophile into their house. So I'm going to try and put a picture of him here, just so everyone can be aware that he is a paedophile who sexually assaulted his own daughter. I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to go into details about what he did to me, but he pretty much did everything that he could to me, apart from like rape me. And then also 6 months after, and I'm still obviously going through the court case, I'm still a child, I got raped. I ended up getting raped by my friend's cousin at her house. I think he was in his late 20s, and I was drunk. I shouldn't have been drunk. It was my first time drinking. I thought it'd be cool to drink with all my friends. They were a little older than me, and I thought it'd be cool to drink. I remember absolutely blacking out and her parents having to pick me up off the kitchen floor because I was laid in my own sick. I'd never been so disabled before in my life. I remember they put me to bed and I couldn't move. Like, I was really scared, but I couldn't tell anybody how scared I was because I was literally paralysed. Like, I couldn't move. I was so drunk. I couldn't move. I couldn't like do anything. And I remember everybody coming in to check on me, and everybody knew that I was 12 because everybody kept shouting, she's 12, like, she's 12, like, we need to make sure she's okay. This guy was there, he knew I was 12, but he decided to wait till everybody was like downstairs, and then he came upstairs and raped me. So when he did, he was sexually assaulting me and doing whatever things to me while I was literally paralysed and passed out. But when he did start to rape me and get himself inside me, the pain of that as a 12-year-old little girl shocked me so much that I've managed to get up. And I'm so proud of myself. Like, I look back on that situation and I'm so proud of myself, because with what happened with my dad, I froze. Like, I was so scared. I froze. I thought, if I move now or if I say anything, I'm gonna die. I'd watched a lot of horror movies and a lot of true crime and everything by the age of 12, so I knew what the world was like, and I thought, if I say something, I'll die. So I'm so proud that when I did get raped when I was 12, a few months afterwards, when I did actually physically have the strength to move, I jumped up and I went downstairs, and then I slept on the sofa with the other people that were downstairs. And I think that is why I'm so fucked. Like, I am so I'm not fucked because I've come so far, but like, I think obviously I was introduced to sexual things at such a young age before I was even a teenager, and then for my own dad to sexually abuse me in such a horrific way, and then a few months later to be raped like by a grown man. I remember being a kid and just thinking, oh, this is life now, like, this is it. Like, I genuinely just felt like this was the way of life. I just thought, like, this is life, like, this is going to happen to me for the rest of my life. And do you know what, funnily enough, it did. Because then obviously I was raped again when I was 14, and then my ex, one of my exes, sexually assaulted me twice. I was sexually assaulted in a hotel room at the age of, I think I was 19, 20. So, I mean, to be fair, I've actually not been sexually assaulted or raped for, like, Oh, wait, by the way, I'm talking about like very serious sexual assault. I've been groped multiple times and touched multiple times up to recently and stuff. So I'm not classing, even though it is class, I'm not classing groping or slapping or anything like that. I'm classing like full, like very blown, long period violation kind of thing. I don't think anything like that's happened to me for about 4 years. A good 4 years, maybe 3. So onwards and upwards from here, guys. Onwards and upwards from here. But as well, I feel like that's why I am the way I am, and that's why I am such like a big kid at heart, and like I find so much happiness in Disney Channel and like stuff like that, because I feel like, well, like when I look back on Disney Channel and stuff like that, and I feel like a kid while looking at it, and I think I cannot believe that like I lived in both worlds. Like while I was living in the Disney Channel innocent little girl world, I was also living in a world where I was being sexualized and abused, and in my head I'm like getting abused so badly, and then I had my comfort of Disney Channel and like all the other I feel like I'm not explaining this very well at all, but I feel like that was obviously my safety net from everything that was going on. And it was also like the last time I had my innocence, because I think I was probably about 6 when I first started watching Disney Channel, and then 16 when I stopped watching Disney Channel. And my sexual assault started when I was 11, so it's like kind of in the middle. Is that in the middle? I don't know, my head's too full to think about it right now. But I find so much comfort and stuff like that. My tears are dripping on my chest. But yeah, I wanted to do this video because I always see so many such brave, strong women, and they all seem to be younger than me as well, making these kind of videos, and I just see so much strength and so much power from them, and I've just never been able to do it. I've always thought like I could never do that. I could never ever do that. So here I am doing it, because I just think I can do it. I feel like I have the strength. I deserve to share my stories and use my voice. I deserve to out the paedophiles that are still walking around in these streets to this day. Yeah, so here is me right now doing something that I genuinely never ever thought that I'd have the strength to do. So I'm very proud of myself. I don't know if I'll post this or not, we'll see. But yeah, I just pray that none of my children have to go through anything that I have gone through in my life. And I pray that no child goes through it. No child at all. No child should ever have to go through that, especially by their own father. It's just gross. I was sexually abused by my dad when I was 12 years old, and I'm gonna talk about it. So I posted a video about this yesterday, but I want to start off by saying the weirdest thing happened today. I received a message from a random number saying, "WhatsApp me urgent, Dad." I'm hoping it's a scam, because the number could not be found on WhatsApp. I asked my sister and the number doesn't correlate to his last known number. So I'm hoping it's a scam, but that is a very weird coincidence. Anyway, so let's talk about it. My dad was always what I thought was a good dad growing up. Obviously now as an adult, a weekend dad is not a good dad, but when I was a kid, he was a weekend dad. He got me whatever I wanted, took me wherever I wanted. He was a good dad. When I was turning 12 that summer, he just randomly stopped seeing me for 2 months. He just didn't see me, didn't answer no calls, nothing. Finally got back in touch with him, and his excuse was that he just didn't want to talk to my mum, blah blah blah. My mum never even spoke to him anyway. Like, my mum had no communication whatsoever with him. So we got back in contact. I think it was just after the summer holidays, around that time, and that is when, in my head, I think the grooming potentially started. He just started being very weird towards me, very close, very touchy, always making comments towards me. He used to always choose to sleep in the bed with me rather than his girlfriend, fiance, who he'd been with for years and years and years. He chose to sleep in the bed with me, which wasn't even a bed, it was a pull-out sofa bed. The night that he did what he did, earlier than in that evening, I was playing out with the kids on the street, and I ran in to get something from the house, and my dad picked me up and just snogged me, like only for like a second, like it was just like one snog, and then put me down, and he said, "Oh, that was a bit weird, wasn't it?" And I remember thinking, why did you just do that? I knew what that was, and I remember thinking, why did you just do that? But obviously I'm 12, so I'm just hoping that that was an accident. But he fully picked me up, snogged me, and put me back down. Now, this memory I have, I'm not sure if when this was, but I think it is around about that time as well. But again, we was out on the street and there was all the neighbours out, and I was doing the splits, and my dad said, I wish my girlfriend could do that. Okay, but I'm not your girlfriend, I am your 12-year-old daughter. I had just started my period. He waited until I had my first period to do what he did to me, and then after when I had my period, he was making multiple jokes towards me. I remember one joke was the Christmas Coca-Cola advert came on, and he said, "Ooh, Carly doesn't like this advert anymore." And I looked at him and I was like, "Why?" And he said, "Because you don't like the colour red, do you?" So yeah, so obviously looking back on that now as an adult, I think he was testing the waters, and I think he just couldn't help himself any longer. Then on that night, I remember, so in that household there was my dad, his girlfriend, long time girlfriend, my sister from my dad's side who was 2 at the time, and myself who was 12. And his girlfriend had gone out, and it was just me, my sister and my dad, and everything seemed pretty normal, but he was drinking a lot. He always drank anyway, but he was drinking a lot. And I remember playing with my sister, and then we'd gone up to bed. I was asleep, and then I woke up to my pants being pulled down. And it's so crazy because, like, I remember everything, every little detail of what that man did to me. I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to, but he did a lot of weird fucking things to me, and I pretended to be asleep throughout it all. I pretended to be asleep because I was so scared. I was absolutely terrified. Like I said, I watched a lot of stuff when I was a kid, and I just, in my head, I knew if I shout for help, if I move, if I jump up, I'm dead. I knew I was going to get killed. Obviously that was just in my head, so I was like, just pretend you're asleep, you'll be home with your mum soon, you'll be with your mum and your grandma soon, and you'll be okay. Just got to get through this. It probably went on for about 20-30 minutes, but it could have been longer. Yeah, he did a lot of weird things to me. And then I remember waking up, he fell asleep, like, it doesn't even matter. But then I remember waking up the next morning and my pants was, oh my god, this is horrible, this is actually horrible. Oh god, this is actually so, oh god, I never spoke about this. I've never said these words, I've never actually said these words, this is crazy. I remember waking up with my, I was wearing a Bob Marley top, an oversized Bob Marley top and leggings. And I woke up with my pants down my ankles and my knickers down my ankles, and he was still fast asleep behind me, and the fear all hit me again, and I thought, fuck, how am I supposed to pull my pants up now and get out of the room without waking him up? Oh my god, that's actually horrible. This is horrible. Oh my god. Wow. Do you know what it is? I don't even think I'm thinking about myself. I'm imagining a little girl in that predicament. Imagine a little girl waking up next to her dad, and now knowing that she has, I'm using the makeup sponge because I'm crying. Oh god. I'm gone. I'm done. Just imagine a little girl waking up in that state and being like, oh my god, how do I now pull my pants up and escape this without waking him up? That is so scary. Wow. Give me a minute, guys. I need a minute. Wow. Yeah, anyway, so then I remember I went to the toilet and I was bleeding. From my vagina. Oh my god. And then I'd gone downstairs, and my sister and my sister's mum were awake. They were downstairs. I went down, I asked for a pad because I was bleeding. They gave me a pad. I went back upstairs, put it on. I was being so quiet because I was so scared of waking him up. And then went downstairs, and then I remember we was watching Elf, because this happened on the 5th of December 2010. We was watching Elf, and I remember laying on that sofa petrified. My sister and her mum was on one sofa and I was on the other one, and I was petrified because my mum wasn't coming to pick me up until after she'd finished work. and I was trying to get her to pick me up earlier, but there was just no, she wouldn't. Obviously I didn't tell her what had happened, and I was just so scared. And I remember there was a neighbour on the street who had a girl like just a bit younger than me, and I think I must have gone and knocked on her door about 6 times within that space of like 2 to 3 hours maybe it was, because I just was so desperate for her to play out. And every time I knocked on the door, she was looking at me like, I've told you she's not in. And then when I look back now, it really does upset me and annoy me, because it's like, are you fake? Are you fake? Did you not see anything wrong with this 12-year-old girl constantly knocking on your door? Like, and I've lived there for years and never done this before in my life. Like, obviously I needed help. So then I was stuck there in the house, and then I heard my dad wake up. So I pretended to be asleep on the sofa. Look at me pretending to be asleep to escape all my trauma. I won't fucking do it now, I'll tell you that for fucking starters. So I pretended to be asleep when he came down, and he walked through the room. He didn't say anything. My sister's mum, his girlfriend, said to him something like, what have you been doing? Where's all the bottles of wine gone? Where the fuck have you been? Something like that. And apparently, I can't remember exactly, but I think apparently I don't know if he left us when we went to sleep. He left us to go to the pub, or if he waited until his girlfriend came back and then went to the pub. And he'd already been drinking, then he came back and he drank 3 full bottles of wine to himself. Right, this video's going to end, so I'm going to go to a part 2 now. So yeah, come. Yeah, this is part 2 of me talking about my dad sexually abusing me, because I didn't have enough time in the other video. So yeah, he left the house, and he just didn't say anything about the drinking or anything. And when he left that house, oh my God, I felt so safe. And then my mum finally came to pick me up, and that was one of the hardest things ever, because I knew I was saying bye to my sister. I knew I'd never see my sister again. I knew I'd never see my sister again. I knew I was going to tell someone straight away. I knew I was never going to see my dad again. I knew my life was over. I knew this was over. Like, I knew everything that I once knew was over, because it all just happened. Like, obviously he never showed any signs before. Obviously now when I look back, there was, but back as a young girl, this just happened. Like, and I was just like, what the fuck? Oh my God. Let me interrupt though, but that to say that 2 months before this happened, I had a dream that he raped me. I had a full-on dream, so vivid, that my dad raped me. And I still remember the dream to this day, and I'm still traumatised by that dream. And I remember waking up from that dream and thinking, you're disgusting, me. I thought I was disgusting for having that dream. And not only was I not disgusting, I'm fucking psychic. Like, I'm literally psychic, and I was trying to warn myself and tell myself, like, something bad is going to happen to you. I had a dream that he raped me. Oh my God. Anyway, yeah, so leaving that day, I just knew I was never going to see my sister again. I am now in full contact with my sister. That girl is my absolute world. To quickly add 2 more pieces of information that I forgot to add in. One is that when I did wake up from him doing this and I was walking out the room, he shouted at me and said, Carly, did you have a bad dream last night? I had a really bad dream last night. And also, we shared an underwear drawer. Our underwear was in the same drawer. And one time he told me to go get dressed or whatever. And I went in the underwear drawer and there was a picture of him fully naked in the underwear drawer. 1, why is there a picture of you naked in our underwear drawer anyway? Our shared underwear drawer. And 2, I think he did that on purpose to expose me to it. So, yeah. I went home that night. I used to sleep at my grandma's on a Sunday because my mum worked. So I remember I was at my grandma's and I was on the computer, and I messaged my best friend on Facebook straight away, and I told her. And now as well, looking back on that as an adult, I can't imagine how she must have felt. Sadly not in like contact like that anymore, but I would love to know now that she's an adult how that made her feel. Like, just your best friend messaging you and being like, my dad did this to me last night. And I also wonder how I messaged her that. So we both agreed we'll go to the school and tell the teachers, and then we knew it'd go to police, but that's what we did. My grandma says she knew something was wrong with me that night, because, or it might have been my mum, because apparently all I kept saying is, I can't wait to see my best friend tomorrow. That's all I kept saying is, I can't wait to see my best friend. And my mum kept thinking, why does she keep saying this? Like, she sees her best friend all the time. So yeah, so the next day at school, I remember, oh my god, my friend was late. She was only like 5-10 minutes late, but I remember sitting in form thinking, where is she? Like, no, we need to do this together. And I was crying. I was sat in class crying. Can you imagine that? Like, a little girl being sexually abused by her dad in one of the most fucking vile ways ever, and then just having to sit in class like nothing happened the next day. And I was just crying, but like trying to hide it. And everyone's like, what's wrong with Carly? What's wrong with Carly? And I'm like, shut the fuck up. Anyway, my friend came, we went straight to the teacher, told the teacher. I didn't tell the teacher everything that happened because I was sat right next to my best friend. It was so embarrassing, so I just said he touched me. And then when my best friend left, then I told him more. And then they sent me back to class and they called my mum and my grandma in, and that's one of the worst. It's one of the worst memories I have as well, because I remember being called down to the office of the teacher that was like helping me through it. And I remember before I went in, I looked through the spy hole and I saw my mum and my grandma sat there. And my grandma had her head in her hands and I knew she was crying, and I walked away from the door and I just thought, I can't do this. I shouldn't have had to do this, wow. And then I walked in and my grandma was just sobbing, and that was just heartbreaking because I just felt like it was all my fault. Like, I knew it wasn't my fault, but I just felt like it was my fault that everyone is so distraught right now. Yeah, and then after that, my memory's a bit blurred because obviously a lot of stuff happened. I had a ski trip the next week as well. Like, I literally had a skiing trip with school abroad, my first time abroad, that next week, and I had to just act like everything was fine, and it was just so totally not. My whole life had just been ruined. I remember my dad's girlfriend at the time, they're not together anymore. I should have stated that from the beginning, I think. She dropped off a bag of my stuff to my mum, and in it she'd put in a cup that was my sister's. But I used to drink out of it all the time because I just loved my sister so much. I loved that little girl so much. And I was so grateful that was in there, so at least I had something to remember my sister by, because that was the hardest thing throughout everything that happened to me. It was losing that little girl. I lost my sister, and that girl was my whole entire world. Yeah, so then it went to court. I got bullied really badly. I think we're going to end this video here and then come back maybe later with a court update, talking about the court, the school, everything that I went through after this. Again, his name is Mark Julian Ward. I'll try and put a picture of him here again. He lives in the Yorkshire area. He has ties to like the Barnsley and Wakefield area, so watch out for him because he's a paedophile who likes to use his daughter's body for his own sexual gratification. Yeah. Part 3 of me talking about my dad sexually abusing me as a child. I'm now going to talk about court. So he did what he did on the 5th of December 2010, and then it went to court in January 2012, so it was just over a year that it went to court. Now, I don't really remember anything from that time. I'm just going to talk about what I do remember. I do remember that I did interviews with like social services, and then when I was in court it was like a webcam thingy, and I remember in court being behind the webcam, and I was so terrified. I remember obviously detail. I didn't even tell them everything that he did to me. Because it was so embarrassing, and obviously I was 12, and I remember very specifically his defence team saying to me as a 12-year-old girl. Now, I might have taken this in the wrong way, but I'll just say it and you guys can tell me what you think. But one of the things the only thing that struck me, what the defence team said to me was, is it not true, Carly, that actually Dad didn't do anything to you, and you woke up and you tried putting your leg over on top of your dad to climb on top of him and he had to push you off him? Yeah. Now, and I was 13, when it went to court, 13. And I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, you're right. I just woke up at the middle of the night and thought, do you know what? I might try it. Suck your mum. Suck your fucking mum. Honestly. Vile. And I remember hearing the testimonies and it were all bullshit. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I don't want to. But it was so hard to listen to. I only remember like certain bits. And then I remember never self-harmed or done anything like that in my whole entire life. Like, and when after my dad did what he did for that whole year, I was okay. It was like I was in shock or denial. I was okay. I was fine. You won't think anything was wrong with me. I was totally fine. It wasn't until I went to court that my brain just stopped working and my life just went fucked. And I do mainly blame it on that, obviously on the defence. But I remember after the court and me walking through the court thingy, and my mum and my grandma being like, are you okay, and I just ignored them. I went straight to the toilet and I just started smacking my head on the wall. Like, that is insane. Like, I'd never done anything like that before in my life. I'd never felt any kind of thought to do that, and I literally smacked my head on the wall because I just could not believe what was happening. I could not believe that I just had that said to me. Now, I never knew what happened just because I have no memory of it. And then it was a couple of years ago that I emailed the court to ask them what happened and what the charges were. They only sent me a brief email. I might try and put a picture of it here. Pause to read if I do manage to get a picture of it here. But basically, he was found guilty of sexual assault of a child under 13, and then found not guilty of penetration of a child under 13, which when I first found that out, I always thought, why would you believe a child? Why would you think, oh yeah, she's telling the truth, and then she just added that in as a little sprinkle of salt, like a little cherry on top. But then I was doing some research, and it turns out that it's very hard to prove penetration because apparently children do not have the right language to explain what that is, and multiple other things like that. And that is so true, because I remember, and my mum told me as well, that one of the reasons why I didn't get charged is because the social workers fucked up with the wording. And basically what it was is that when I was telling the social workers what had happened, I'd said that he'd put his fingers inside me, and she had used the word penetration, and I thought that word sounded so much better. Now, as a 12-year-old, I knew what the term fingering meant, like, and that is the term that I wanted to use in my head when, like, ever explaining it to court. But I didn't want to say it because I knew my mum and my grandma was going to see this, and I didn't want them to be like, why does she know what that means? But I mean, come on, I was 12, I was in high school, everyone knows what fingering means when you're in high school. And I was just so embarrassed, so I kept using the word penetration, and then because I couldn't actually explain what the word penetration meant, they couldn't actually, like, prove it, and then they kind of blamed the social workers for putting that in my mind. And it gets me so mad because he would have done 6 to 14 years, if I'd have just been brave enough to say he fingered me, which sounds disgusting to say it out loud. And I can't believe I'm going to post this on TikTok because I've never even fucking... Oh my God, I'm fucking burning up. But just, do you understand my anger? And I'm angry at myself, but I'm not angry at myself. I were a kid, I'm angry at the system. But if I could have just had the guts to say that, then he would have... Yeah. Anyway, so he obviously was found guilty of sexual assault. One thing that always confused me is why there was no extra charge for incest or anything further, because you are my you are my dad, you fucking I'm not going to say it because I don't want this video to get taken down, because it's very important that this video stays up. So yeah, do you guys want to know what the sentencing was? Nothing. He got nothing. I'm lying. He got 18 months suspended sentence. He got a 6-month prison sentence, suspended for 18 months. So he didn't have to see a minute in jail. And even if he did reoffend or do anything, he would have only had to go to jail for 6 months. Now, I might be wrong, but if I was a PDF and I really wanted to SA someone, that's worth it. Do you guys not agree? How many PDFs will think the same? That's worth it. I don't have to... He had no consequences. He had to register as a sex offender for 5 years. 5 years? 5 years. So before I'm even an adult, by the time I'm 17, so before I'm even an adult, he will be off the sex offenders list. But apparently, I found out later that apparently he tried some kind of loophole to get out of signing on, because apparently he said he wasn't like the other PDFs that were there. But he's right. You are definitely not like the other PDFs there. You are a million, trillion, billion times worse. So he got nothing. He literally got no jail time, nothing, even though he was found guilty. And that is our justice system. And this is one thing that really upsets me, is when I'm reading news articles and I see a story, man sexually assaulted 10-year-old girl, sentenced for 15 years, which, yeah, should make me happy, and it does. But then it makes me so sad, because I'm like, so why the fuck? Not for me. when it was literally proven guilty. So why not for me? Or even I'll see such a similar story, dad, SA, child, daughter, whatever, sentenced to 20 years in prison, and I'm like, so why not for me? It makes me feel like I'm worthless, and nothing ever makes me feel worthless. Nothing in this world could ever make me feel worthless, because I love myself so much. But that makes me feel so worthless, because why was I not worth prosecuting and sentencing? So that is the court update. I'll do, again, like I said, I'll post some more stories about, there is more to say.
Get ready with me to quit my job, even though I'm pretty much already ready. I'm just gonna yap about it. So basically, I'm a pharmacy technician. I'm not gonna say where I work just because I still work there, and I don't know if I'm gonna end up moving just to a different department or stay at the department that I was originally at. But back in April, I got hired at the pharmacy where I work. And, you know, it was fine. I got really lucky because I got hired since I'm a Spanish speaker. I'm fluent in Spanish, so they hired me. They took me out of another department. They trained me at the pharmacy because I had no pharmacy experience and I had no desire to work at a pharmacy. But I was like, you know what? I'll learn something new and I'll just take everything I learn and throw it somewhere else if I don't like it here, which I'm gonna do. So basically, yesterday I had a customer and he was a Spanish speaking customer, okay? He needed his Jardiance filled. If you don't know, Jardiance is a diabetic medication, and it is a very expensive medication, okay? So he came up to me and was like, hey, my doctor sent over a script for the Jardiance. If it's really expensive, he told me to just give him a call and he'll send a generic over. I was like, okay, that's perfectly fine. Let me check the price for you. So I go in the system and I go and check this medication, and it's really expensive. So then I'm like, hey, well, it's this much, and we're not busy. I'm going to call a doctor for you if you'd like. If not, you can go call a doctor yourself, but this is what it is. He can send over a generic and whatever. He's like, do you know how much the generic would be? I'm like, well, since we'd have to process it through your insurance, we don't know as of yet, but if you think this price is a little too pricey for you, you can go ahead and call him. I can call him as well, and we can figure out, and, we can see the difference, right? So then I'm over here, I'm asking my pharmacist, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna call a doctor, okay? She was like, okay, whatever. And then, so she's like over here fixing up a vaccine, right? So then she goes, gives a vaccine, comes back, and the patient's still there at the desk, and he's like, hey, I guess she saw that he was, like, concerned about it, so then she had told him, I'm such a bad storyteller, maybe I'm amped up, but she had told him, hey, there's a coupon online. The coupon is gonna be this much, it's probably gonna take off this much, there's a coupon online, just go online, fill out the thing, and, whatever. Well, I'm a girly pop. I'm a Mexican girly pop coming from immigrant parents, and I know damn well that if somebody ever told my parents, hey, go online, get this coupon, they would not know how to do it. They just wouldn't. So that's why I'm there. That's why I'm there to help. So I go and ask him. I'm like, hey, there's this coupon online, okay? I'm still relatively new. I'm gonna look up this coupon, okay? Do you have time? All I need is gonna probably be email, name, phone number, etc. He was like, yeah, sure, why not? Yeah. I was like, all right, bet. So, I can't find this dumbass coupon. I asked the pharmacist who told him about this coupon that I didn't know existed. I'm like, hey, can you help me find this coupon? She's like, it's in there. It's in there somewhere, look. I'm like, okay. I can't find it. Since you're the one that had told him and mentioned the coupon, do you mind coming over and helping me find a coupon? She shoves me, she literally pushes me out of the way. She's now in front of the computer. She's like, Crystal, just go do the order. Go do the order. And then at this point, the guy's telling me, wow, this lady, I never liked her. She never has any patience. I hate coming here. I was like, yeah, she doesn't have patience. But yeah, sure, let me go do the order. I'm, going to do the order, and as I'm, walking away to tell her, okay, I'll do the order, she's like, she whips around, and she's like, I'm done. I'm tired of you. Like, get out. Like, I'm tired of you having an attitude with me. Like, I've been wanting to tell you forever, but I just haven't. Like, I'm so sick of you, basically, and, like, telling me to get out of the pharmacy. And I'm, like, over here, like, I was just trying to help. I was just trying to help someone. We have so much downtime. Our pharmacy is not busy. And there was a winter storm. So everything, like, a lot of medication was already put back, and nobody has come back to refill it. So it's dead. It's dead. Our fill was like, I walked in there, our fill was like 30. I got that done in like not even an hour. So there was nothing to do. Everything was in PV. Everything was in PV. Oh my god, everything was in PV or it was in DV. So I can't do anything about it. And so I'm just there waiting, you know, I had downtime. Oh, but the whole morning she was scrolling on Amazon. The entire morning she was scrolling at like expensive ass jewelry, but she couldn't PV, she couldn't DV, so I couldn't do my job. Okay, so now I had a job to do. I had a patient in front of me asking for this coupon. So then I go and ask her, where is this coupon? She tells me to get out of the way, and she tells me to leave the pharmacy, and that she doesn't ever want to work with me ever again. Because apparently I waste time. I waste too much time helping people. Okay. So I go to the back. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. Like, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving because you just kicked me out for helping a Spanish speaker. You racist piece of shit. Because she is, okay? These are not allegations. Every time there's a Hispanic, any person of color, literally any person of color, she does not want to deal with it. She goes the easy way. She goes the easy way out. She tells them, well, just call your doctor. If you don't like the price, then, you know, that's not good for us either. Okay, they're gonna end up switching their pharmacy. They're gonna end up going to La Comunidad Hispana, which is basically a Mexican pharmacy for just Hispanics. Like, you just don't understand the flow. Like, you're not in the flow. So, and I don't even care if this comes out and people find out about this and somebody goes and tells my boss, because honestly, I'm trying to get out of there. Like, I've been there for 4 years, okay? I'm trying to go and do better things, but I'm, like, attached to my job and, like, whatever. So then, anyway, I go to the back, and of course, my district manager is in here because his day off, he worked his day off, so now, like, yesterday was his day off. And nowhere to be found. I text him. I'm like, hey, this happened. This incident happened. I'm really sorry. I even said, I'm like, really sorry for texting you on your day off. Like, my pharmacist just called me, the floater pharmacist, but I don't care. I literally don't care. I don't care. Because I was scheduled today, but they're funny. They're funny if they think I'm going. They're funny if they think I'm dropping everything and just working in the pharmacy like nothing happened. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not. No, I'm not doing that. And it's funny because I was like, oh, I'm not going in because I apparently got fired. And she's like, no, you didn't. You're still on the schedule. Eat my ass, bro. Like, eat my ass. Like, no. So clearly she wasn't confused about it. So my original pharmacist had told her what she did. And apparently everybody's cool with it until they're the ones working. Which is funny. It's funny. Anyway. What was I saying? Yeah, so then I text my manager, good for nothing, sorry. And I'm like, this happened. And he's like, well, she's technically your manager, so you have to go home. Oh, going home for helping someone? Going home because someone couldn't afford their medication, so I wanted to call a doctor and I was therefore wasting time? Isn't that my job? When there's downtime? So, I stayed. Thankfully, I'm such a hardworking gal, and I'm trained in the bakery, I'm trained up front, I'm trained in pharmacy, which I'm not going back to, and I'm sure I could be trained literally everywhere else, like customer service, like, what, will I get fired there too? Because I'm, like, always just gonna be helping people. Is that, like, I can be trained a beer and wine. I literally run that store. If you know me, if you're watching this video right now and you know where I work, I can literally run the entire place by myself. Like, I can't. Like, it's just not worth it anymore. And I don't even care. I don't care. I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna talk to my district manager. If I get fired today, I don't care because I've been looking at so many other jobs in my field that I just haven't got into because I'm like, no, I have this job.
Get ready with me while I tell you about the worst thing that ever happened to me when I was 18 years old. This literally, when I explain it to you, will sound like it came out of a freaking movie, but I promise you it was real, and it definitely could have been a lot worse. Now, when I was 18 years old, I started my first job at a fast food restaurant, and once again, I was 18, so the way I acted when I was 18 is not the way that I am now. I was definitely more gullible, more naive, and I was honestly, like, I let people push me around. Now, I got hired with 2 other guys, and the 3 of us became really good friends after a couple months. We would all hang out, and I had a boyfriend at the time, and he met both of these guys. Like, they all got along. Everything was fine until me and the guy I was dating at the time broke up. Now, when me and this guy broke up, I told the 2 guys about it because they were honestly, like, the only friends I had at work. They were my best friends at the time. They were the only friends I had at school. We all ended up going to the same school together. So when I told them that this guy broke up with me, one of them, he was like, you know, he was sorry, and he was like, if you ever need to talk, like, I'm here. The other one, he waited until it was just him and I, and he told me that he had been in love with me for a few months now. And now, you know, nobody really wants to hear that the first thing when they get out of a relationship. And also, and this is probably bad of me for assuming, but I did not know that he liked girls. And if you knew this guy, you wouldn't have thought so either. I guarantee it. So I was just thrown off, 1, because I didn't know that he liked girls, and 2, I did not want to hear that. I just got out of a relationship. I really liked the guy, but he was also really toxic, so it was just like a whole lot going on right now. And once again, I'm 18. This was like one of my first real relationships, so I didn't really know exactly like how to navigate it. And also, I was 18 at the time. One of the guys was 19, the other one was almost 21. The one that confessed that he had been in love with me for a few months now, he was the one that was almost 21. So that honestly, like, kind of gave me the ick. It low-key, like, kind of scared me. So I was like, oh, I'm not looking for anything. Like, I literally just got out of a relationship, like, 24 hours ago. But I want to be friends. So if you feel like you can't do that, I understand. But I can't hang out with you if you still have feelings for me. And he was like, no, I understand. Like, it was a long shot. I'll get over it. We can still be friends. I don't want to lose you as a friend. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm glad we had that conversation, whatever. Everything was out in the open. A couple months go by, and I'm still, like, getting, like, weird vibes from him. And it probably was only a month or 2 later, he starts saying that, like, he's still in love with me, and if I had given it any thought and how I felt, like, pretty much asking had I moved on yet from the guy I was with. And I was like, no, like, it's not that I wasn't over the guy, it's that I did not see you as anything more than a friend. And that, like, obviously kind of hurt his feelings, and I felt bad, but it's like, I also wanted to be honest, like, I'm not gonna lead you on, like, that was the last thing I wanted. So he once again was like, no, I appreciate the honesty, it's just, like, hard to hear. So at this point, I'm kind of feeling, like, weirded out about him, so I kind of, like, distanced myself. We kind of stopped hanging out as often. I would hang out with the other guy instead, and I really felt like I had nobody else to talk to about this. So I ended up telling him about it, and he was like, hey, like, he's my friend too, so I'm not going to say anything, negative about him. And I was like, no, like, I didn't expect you to, because I'm not saying anything negative either. I just don't know how to navigate it, because what more can I tell you other than I'm not interested, and if this can't get solved, then we can't be friends. Like, like, I'm trying to be honest, I'm trying to do the right thing here. And the guy's like, yeah, I get that, but, he obviously still likes you. It's not helping him, with you guys, like, still hanging out. Like, he probably thinks that there's still going to be a chance. And I was like, yeah, like, you're probably right. So with that advice, I ended up telling the guy, I was like, hey, like, I don't think that we should, be friends anymore, at least for a while, just because I don't want to lead you on. Like, that's really the thing I don't want to do. Like, I don't want you to feel like there's some kind of hope for us. And he's like, I understand. Could we, hang out one last time? Because he didn't have really any friends either. So I was like, yeah, sure. And mind you, at this point, everybody at work knew that he had a crush on me, but I didn't know that he told everybody. And from what I found out later, he told everybody, oh, we're figuring things out, instead of, oh, she told me she's not interested. So we hang out, end up, like, dropping him off, whatever, and he leans over and he kisses me. And now I didn't really know what to do. I just kind of like sat there, and then like he got really embarrassed. He's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, like I'm sorry, like there was a mistake. And then like he just like leaves. And so I didn't know what to do. Like I went home and I was like, well, we're not going to see each other anymore anyways. Like that, you know, solidified everything. And also at this point, I started having feelings for the other guy that I was friends with. I know, it's such a cliche. That's why you can never really be friends with people of the opposite gender. You're always going to end up catching feelings one way or another. But me and this guy, like, we did have a lot in common. Way more than I had in common with the 21-year-old. You know, we had a lot of, like, things in common. Like, it was, like, scary how much we had in common. So we started dating, and we really wanted to keep it like low-key because everybody at work are they were freaking gossipers, and I didn't need them going around telling the other guy. But he kind of like had suspicions because he would notice that we were always like hanging out together and things like that. And he would like start getting jealous when I tried to reach out and be like, hey, like we should all hang out again. He would like say things like, oh, Anna, go get your boyfriend. Like, you know, if the guy was like messing with him or, you know, joking around or whatever, he'd be like, Anna, come get your boyfriend. Like, he was being very petty about it, which is crazy considering he's like 3 years older. So anyways, flash forward a couple months, he like says that he really needs closure, and he wrote me a letter and he needed me to go to his house to pick it up. I really didn't want to do it, but I was like, you know what, if it's gonna put an end to this, like, sure. So I went to his house, took the letter, went home, read it. It was a 5-page typed out letter. He titled it, underlined it, and called In Another Lifetime. Gaslit me into thinking that it was all my fault. I led him on. He really thought that I was going to be the woman that he married, had kids with, lost his V card with. Like, he thought I was going to be like all of his firsts. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, this is freaking weird. And honestly, I started crying. Like, this man literally gaslit me. Like, bro, you're 21 and I'm 18. You should know better. Like, I didn't know what was going on. Like, I thought that I was doing the best that I could. I told him, oh, like, I'm not looking for anything right now. I can't help that I ended up having feelings for somebody else. But I made that clear to him that there was going to be nothing between us. So it was just, like, really weird. And he ended up reading that letter to everybody at work at a party one day. I didn't go to this party because it was, like, all the guys and stuff. But yeah, he read that letter to them, and then I stopped talking to him after that, removed him on Instagram, all that stuff. Then he reached out saying that it was like around Christmas this time, and his New Year's resolution was to make amends, and he was sorry that I hated him. And I was like, I don't hate you, I hate what you did. So I kind of forgave him just because it was so awkward at work. And we were by far, like, no means, like, friends again, but we were, like, tolerable. So now I had been with my boyfriend, the other guy, I had been dating him for a year now. We went on vacation to go see his family, and while we were gone, keep in mind this was a year after, like, the whole kiss and, like, everything. I come back to work, everybody's telling me, Anna, he said that, the 21-year-old said that it's the 1-year anniversary of when you guys kissed, like, all this stuff. I'm like, so what's going on? How are you gonna say that you want to, like, move on and, like, you know, try and be friends again, but you're doing this stuff behind my back? Like, you're fake, like, you're weird. So yeah, after that I was like, yeah, no, because at the time when he said that it was his New Year's resolution to, like, make amends, I ended up following him again on Instagram, but we never, like, talked or anything. So after I heard that he was going behind my back saying, yeah, it's the 1-year anniversary of when we kissed. Girl, you know, you mean when you kissed me. So yeah, I removed him on everything, and he never talked to me about it again. I think he knew. I think that he knew that, like, I heard all this stuff because I guess nobody really liked him, but he thought they did. I have no idea. But anyways, so long story short, he ended up getting fired a couple months later. I don't know for what, but yeah. So I guess karma is a bitch. So moral of the story, I would say don't date your coworkers too, because the other guy, he ended up cheating on me like 2 years later, so that kind of sucked. But moral of the story, don't even get involved. Like, don't trust anybody. Like, don't trust your coworkers. Like, I don't know, some of them will be genuine, but most of the time they won't be.
I don't want to be dramatic, but I feel like I'm already tired tomorrow.
So a couple weeks ago, I decided I wanted to go get Japanese barbecue. That's probably my favorite food, like my favorite restaurant food, like Japanese barbecue. Yukaku, like, if they only have one customer, just know it's me, right? So I texted my homegirl and my homeboy, their brother and sister, and I was like, I'm going to Japanese barbecue around 7 if any of y'all want to pull up. They both ended up pulling up. whatever, it was a great time. And like me and her, we go often, we does this, like we already know what's up, right? But her brother, like he's also my friend, like at one point in time we were real like close friends, like we were best friends, but like I would have said like at that moment in time we were good friends still. I don't think we were best friends, but we were good friends. Like that's my friend. He's not just her brother, that's my friend, you know? Mind you, he and I mean, me and them, the whole thing, like the whole siblings, all the siblings, we've been friends or we've known each other since before 2012. That's more than half of my life. I'm 26, 2012 was 14 years ago. So that's more than half my life that I've known them. And I only use 2012 as a reference because that's when my mom passed away. And I knew them at the time that my mom passed away. They met my mom. It's a small percent of the world who can say they've met my mom, you know? So that's why I use 2012 as a reference. But realistically, we probably met in 2010, if I'm being honest. So 16, is that 16? Yeah, 16 years of friendship, knowing each other, whatever the case may be. It all came to an end. It all came to an end. And I'm standing on business behind this one, right? So yeah, fast forward, we're eating or whatever, and he just looks miserable. But like, I'm not really taking it to heart. Now, again, this is my favorite restaurant. So like seeing somebody not enjoying my favorite restaurant, it really does hurt. But like, I can't be arsed. Like I'm having a jolly good old time. Like I would have went by myself regardless if nobody would have went with me, right? So, you know, I keep teasing him throughout the night. I'm like, bruh, fix your face. Like, you don't look happy to be here, yada, yada, yada. Whatever. Fast forward, end of the night comes, and he was also like my handyman, right? Like, I would always call him to like help me out if I needed something to build. I mean, he was a man. Do what men do, like build. Yes, correct. So, sometime throughout the night, they were like, okay, we're gonna go back to Nadia's house because I had these floating shelves I want him to put up for me. And so I was like, okay, so everybody was gonna come back to my house. We leave the restaurant, we're in the parking lot and stuff. And I don't even know, we were just like messing around, like, you know, nothing too crazy. And then like, he was like pretending to push me off like the sidewalk, you know, whatever. And I was like, oh, you push me off the sidewalk? Like, I'll show you, whatever the case may be. So then I put his sister in like a fake headlock. Again, we're just joking, like, we're literally just joking. And so then he comes to put me in a headlock for putting his sister in a headlock. And immediately I was like, okay, game's over, like, game's over. My wig is not glued down, like, game over. And so he was like, oh, okay, bet. Like, all right, your wig's not glued down. Like, all right, bet. He quits. He quits trying to put me in a headlock or whatever. Turns around, comes and snatches my wig off in the middle of the Japanese barbecue parking lot. I'm talking about, it's like 9 p.m. in Midtown in Houston. And he snatched my wig off. I'm talking about wig on the floor, on the bare cement. $800 worth of bundles and closure on the bare cement. After I just told you that don't put me in a headlock, my wig is not glued down. If the wig would have came off during the headlock, okay, you feel me? I put your sister in the headlock, we was joking, okay. But the fact that I told you my wig was not glued down, you said okay, and then doubled back and ripped the wig off, he's so lucky I didn't steal up on him in that moment. Like, he literally ripped it off and then took off running. And I was like, there's just no way. And I literally told him in his face, I said, I would never speak to you again. He said, that's fine, that's fine. Then I said, I picked my wig up off the floor, bald-headed. I'm talking about freedom braids, a wig cap sitting back here, like, not necessarily embarrassed, but like an embarrassing thing just happened. Like, my homeboy just ripped my wig off. You feel me? And is laughing in my face. I just told you I would never fuck with you again, and you're continuing to laugh in my face. I get in the car, turn the car on, finna pull off. He's knocking on my window like, oh, so am I going to your house? Am I going to your house? Like, am I putting up the shelves? Nigga, if you go even within 15 thoughts of my house, I will beat the fuck out of you. You've never seen this woman scorned, okay? Like, what do you mean, are you going to my house? No, I don't care if I have to put the shelf on my head. You will never step foot in my house again, okay? Now, I already knew after that, like, I would never speak to him again, but I did expect him to apologize. Days go by, no apology, no nothing, radio silence. And then his sister ended up calling me. Mind you, I'm not beefing with the sister. I was beefing with the sister until I spoke to her. She almost got cut off right with her brother. But she was like, I had no idea what even happened. Like, all I know is I turned around, your wig was on the floor. I assumed it came off in a scuffle. Like, I didn't know he ripped it off. And I told her, I said, okay. I said, well, thanks for clarifying, because you show was finna get cut off too. Because, like, for me, my first instinct might have been to laugh. But as soon as I would have, like, registered what's going on, my homegirl's wig on the floor at the hands of my brother, like, I would have went off of my brother. But like she said, she only turned around and the wig was off, so she didn't see what happened. So yeah, so I told her, she was like, oh, I'm gonna call him. And I was like, don't call him. Like, your brother's a grown-ass man. This is a 28, 29-year-old man. Your brother's a grown-ass man. Like, if he wanted to call me and apologize, he could have called and apologized. Anyways, get off the phone with her. I don't end up cutting her off. And he texts me, let me read you this piss poor sorry ass excuse for an apology. And I already know, like, he only apologized because she said something, because as an adult grown man, you would apologize that same day. I mean, that same day. Let me read you this piss poor, pathetic excuse of an apology. And actually, this is the first time me even reading this full message. I read like the first line and was instantly just pissed the hell off. And then on top of that, your sister had to call you and tell you to apologize to me. Yeah, you're a grown ass man. You will never hear from me again in this life, ever again. He said, and I quote, "Hi, I would like to apologize for the way things ended when we last hung out at the Japanese barbecue place. I shouldn't have pulled your wig off, and when I did, should have called and apologized. But by the way you drove off, you were still upset and wanted to let things settle." Who wouldn't be upset? Who wouldn't be upset? "I would like to probably make it up to you for my childish behavior. Please let me know if there's anything you can do to make, if there's anything I can do to make it up to you. If not, I completely understand. You can lick my balls. The day you can lick my balls, me, a woman at birth, the day you can lick my balls is the day that I can forgive you."
Yeah, and can I also have the pumpkin loaf?
I'm so sorry, we're actually all out of our loaves this morning.
Okay, perfect.
There's nothing worse than dealing with just stingy people, okay? My best friend just got engaged. Her name's Maria. So she tells us that she, is getting engaged. We're all super happy for her. And then I'm actually one of the bridesmaids. And so I know most of the bridesmaids that are all of us together, but there's this one bridesmaid I don't really know that well. I know my friend Maria, and then this other bridesmaid, her name's Amy. They have been friends for a while, and I've known of her, but I just haven't really spent that much time around her, and I definitely haven't traveled with her before. For Maria's bachelorette party, she decides that she wants to go to Vegas. Cool, easy. It's not that far. We live in California. It's not that far of a flight. It's very doable, and all of us work big girl jobs now. We have our big girl jobs. It shouldn't be too much to ask for, right? You would think. As we're planning this bachelorette trip, she puts us all in a group chat, right? So she's doing a lot. She's sending all options for us at different hotels that we want to stay at. So she's sending us different ones, and she's like, guys, I actually really like this one. I think it was like the Venetian or something. And we were all gonna just split a suite or a villa. It honestly wasn't that bad. I think it was only gonna come out to maybe 150 to 200 a night. Very doable because we were only staying there like 3 or 4 nights. And so she's like, I really like this one. If we book as like a group, we can get like a little bit of a discount, being very considerate. Okay. And so I was getting ready to type, right? I'm getting ready to type and I'm like, yeah, dude, like it looks good. Like I'm down. Let me know when to send the money. And then I get a text in the group chat from her other bridesmaid, Amy. Again, I don't know this girl that well. So she texts back and she's like, honestly, I really don't want to spend that much for just the 3 nights that we're staying there. Can you find something cheaper? First of all, bitch, why don't you find something cheaper? She's doing us the courtesy of finding all this info for us, right? Anyway, so that already kind of threw me off. Again, I haven't really had much interaction with this girl, but immediately off that text, I'm like, what the fuck is this girl's problem? But I don't want to ruin anything. It's not my place. I'm just here to go along with it. So I'm like, okay, you know what, whatever. So Maria sends another hotel. We all decide, okay, cool. It was like $100 a night, something like that. So we all agree, and that's the hotel that we're going to. So fast forward, it's the week of her bachelorette party. We are heading to Vegas, okay? And so for one of the nights, she wanted to do one of the, I don't know, is it like Magic Mike or the Thunder from Down Under shows. I wasn't too crazy about it. I'm gay, obviously. But whatever, it's my friend. I'm gonna be there fucking screaming for these men shirtless because that's what good friends do. Night of the show, all the girls are super excited. Everyone's hyped. It's like one of our first nights out because after the show, we're going to this club that she wanted to go to. So we pull up to the show, we get there, we pre-gamed at the hotel. So by this point, everyone's feeling loose. Everyone is feeling good. I downed like a buzzball. I'm feeling good by this point. So we get into the show, hand them our tickets. And so we're walking in, it's all fucking dark. It smells like baby oil. There's shirtless men everywhere, okay? And so we get seated, and a fucking course, I end up getting seated right next to Amy. Now, Amy is also gay. Keep that in mind. And she brought with her girlfriend, Selena. So I'm sitting, there's like 8 of us, right? So I'm sitting in one of the back rows. I'm right next to Amy. And then here's her girlfriend, Selena. And then in the front row is my friend Maria with the rest of the bridesmaids. I don't know why the fuck I got seated next to her. The show starts. It smells like lube and sweat, okay? But I'm not gonna lie. They actually did put on a good show. And then with the alcohol that I have in my system, I'm actually starting to enjoy the show. I'm right there screaming. I almost forget that I'm gay. And then Amy, sitting next to me, she taps me on the shoulder. And I'm like, again, I haven't really spoken to this girl. She taps me on the shoulder and she's like, hey, like, do you want a drink? And I'm like, yeah, I want a drink. So she asked me what I want and I'm just like, oh, I'll just take like a tequila sunrise. So, they bring the drink back and I'm like, thanks. And she's like, oh yeah, no problem. She was like, I'll just, I'm not going to make them split it or anything. I'll just keep it all on one because it's just going to be easier. And I'm like, thanks. Like, and in my head, I'm thinking, yeah, when we, I'll get the next one, like, I feel like that's just like common courtesy. Like you get one round, I get the next, like it just makes it easier. About 20 minutes later, the waiter comes around again and Amy is like, hey, do you want another drink? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm feeling fucking phenomenal at this point. So the show ends. We're walking out and my friend Maria is like, hey, we're going to go to this other club. That's like where we're going to end the night. And I'm like, cool. So we're walking through the casino and I see a bar, right? And I'm like, ooh, like a shot sounds good right now, right? Like I said, mind you, I'm feeling good. And I'm like, we're all here to celebrate our friend, right? So I'm like, I get up to the bar and I'm like, I'm feeling good. And I'm like, you know what? Let me get a whole round. There's 8 of us. Okay. I'm like, let me get a round for everyone. Let me get 8 shots for everyone because we're here to celebrate my fucking friend. As I'm getting ready to pay, the bartender's like, oh, do you have one of the vouchers? And I'm like, what voucher? She's like, oh, if you just ask one of those guys that's standing right there, they'll give you a voucher. So it's buy one, get one free. And I'm like, buy one, get one free for shots? And she's like, yeah, if you buy 8 shots, you'll get another 8 for free. And I'm like, oh, first round comes out. We all cheers, throw that shot back. Okay. And then I don't know what got into me. I was feeling good and I had a little extra money because I do this like side hustle thing where I get extra money off it's like an app, a pay me app. Anyway, so I had extra money sitting in there. And so I was like, fuck it. You know what? Let's get 2 more rounds. I ordered 3 rounds of shots for everyone. So I bought 3 rounds of shots and then I got another 3 for free. Everyone is 6 shots deep right now. And I'm going to be completely honest. I don't really remember shit after that. So fast forward, the weekend goes by. It's amazing. Vibes are high. My friend Maria even got kicked out of the club one of the nights. Phenomenal time. So I'm on my way to come back home, right? I flew. Everyone had different flight times. So I head out the morning that we're going to leave. So I landed back in California and I take my phone off airplane mode and I look at my text and I have a text from Amy and it's not in a group chat. It's just me and Amy. And I'm like, what the fuck? And lock my phone and I look at her text. She texts me the most audacious shit ever. Mind you, she doesn't start the message with, hey girl, or hey, had so much fun. All she sends me is a picture of the fucking receipt from the show that we were at, showing the tab for my drinks. And then she texts me, oh, for your portion, it was like $64. Excuse... What? Mind you, remember, like I said, back at the bar, I bought everyone a round of 3 shots, right? So I paid for the 3 and then got another 3 rounds free. But mind you, it's her and her girlfriend, right? So it's Amy and Selena. I bought you 3 shots and I bought your whole ass girlfriend 3 shots. I did not ask for a single dime. Okay, because I know in my head that you got me some drinks, so I'm gonna pay that back, right? So, and no, that is not how it works in her head. She fucking kept track of how much. She saved the receipt, circled it, said, this is how much you owe me for your drinks. I was completely baffled. I didn't know how to respond. I didn't want to respond in like a bitchy way either because, mind you, I still have to see her for the wedding that's coming up. I don't want to cause issues for Maria and Amy. So I just read it. I sent her the fucking money and I wanted to block that girl instantly, but we're still in the group chat together, so I can't.